On the broadcast tonight, life and death, tonight's execution in Georgia, and why so many people have been fearing an innocent man being put to death. Finally,
reporters in New York. This is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
good evening. No execution has received this much attention in decades. In this case, it's because so many people are convinced of his innocence. Troy Davis was condemned to die for the murder of an off-duty police officer back in 1989. For the past few days and into today, all those who could have stopped the execution did not. And now tonight, his lawyers have appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want to begin tonight with NBC's Tan Trung outside the prison in Jackson, Georgia. Tan, good evening.
Brian, no word yet from the Supreme Court, and that word may not come before the 7 o'clock scheduled execution. Barring a legal miracle, Troy Davis has just minutes left to live. Ahead of tonight's execution, the protests spread far beyond the prison gates in Jackson, Georgia.
Stop the execution!
From California to the nation's capital, they shouted.
They say death no! We say hell no!
Their chants echoed overseas in London, Paris, and Rome. The message, spare Troy Davis's life.
This evidence is in doubt. They do not have true evidence that this man is guilty.
It blew my mind, quite honestly, that it's even possible that we're talking about the execution of a man who might be innocent.
Davis was convicted and sentenced to death for the 1989 murder of Savannah police officer Mark McPhail. Witnesses testified Davis shot McPhail in the face and chest as he helped a homeless man. But 7 of the 9 witnesses later recanted their testimony, several claiming police coercion. No DNA evidence links him to the crime. Pope Benedict and former President Jimmy Carter are among prominent voices saying there's too much uncertainty.
People like that, when we have doubts that they could well be innocent, we shouldn't be executing them, period.
For 22 years, Davis maintained his innocence, but failed to clear his name. Today, his last-minute offer to take a polygraph test was rejected. Davis's family could only pray.
We are very upset by this, and I want people to understand that our family is hurting too, but we will not give up this fight.
Through numerous appeals and 3 halted executions, Officer McPhail's family and prosecutors never wavered from their belief Davis deserved death.
It's over. It sounds terrible, but I can finally close this book and hopefully get some peace.
Before his execution, Davis issued a statement saying in part, "This struggle is for all the Troy Davises who came before me and all the ones who will come after me. But I'll not stop fighting until I've taken my last breath." And Davis spent 6 hours today with family and friends. When he was offered a choice of a last meal, Brian, he declined it. Instead, he was served the standard meal of a cheeseburger, baked beans, and potatoes. Brian.
Tan Trung, Jackson, Georgia, starting us off tonight. Tan, thanks. Overseas tonight.